Now, I have had to remove two troublemakers, but as far
Okay.
as somebody rearing back and say, "Hey, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore," uh, no, we haven't lost a district captain. In fact, I'm not sure, other than a couple of folks who had to leave for health reasons, what I call my core team. I've had the same core team now for about 2 years.
Well,
So,
we've that the problem that Susan was talking about. Of course, now, she was even mentioning they were losing district captains within the first week. Now we
yeah,
we
that shocked me a little bit.
we generally hang on hang on to them a little longer than that, but we still have experienced the same thing where people they uh, for whatever reason, sometime, and Gary, you can chime in on this, but sometimes they go away and we never hear from them again. We don't know why they have left. Um, but it, are we explaining the problem? Okay,
Yeah.
Gary, you got anything else you want to add to it?
Yeah, I was just going to say we have a pretty extensive training program. And a lot of times people get started in that. And then at some point along the line, they stall and they stop responding and we don't hear from them anymore. And it just sort of disappear.
Well, let me tell you what I did. I'm in my third year now as the state director here in Alabama. When I took over, we had, according to the LMT, we had 82 district captains. Only three knew that they were district captains.
How many new?
We had 82 district captains as far as LMT is concerned, and a grand total of three knew that they were district captains, and I was one of them.
Okay.
So what
Sounds like
was
the 2020 election.
so? I guess here in Alabama we've got 104 House districts and 35 Senate districts, and I'm assuming that by predecessor, and Kevin did a wonderful job. I'm not besmirching Kevin at all. He was working three jobs, and it finally just caught up with him, and he had to leave. The push was you must have a district captain in every House district.
Right.
Physically, that's not going to happen. Not here. And now it may happen in y'all's area. We're a very rural state. And after it took me 3 months to literally blow the system, I blew Alabama up. I really did. I told Rodney after a bunch of stuff, and I said, we got to start over from scratch. And we did. I mean, I blew it up. Got rid of folks who were DC, weren't DCs, got rid of a whole bunch of stuff, and got down to a grand total of, I think, three or four people that were working with me. I tried the approach of you've got to get all this education, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I tried that for 6 months and it failed miserably. It sounds like what I had the same kind of issue you guys are having. They'd get involved, they'd go do this, they'd go do that, and then all of a sudden they just disappeared off the face of the earth. Never heard from them again. Now, some of them stuck around, but they just disappeared. So I went back to my roots and what I spent. So y'all know where I came from. I spent 25 years as a business consultant working for companies like HP, IBM, Oracle, and whatnot. And I spent 20 years building teams, sales teams, management teams, marketing teams. That's all I did for 25 years. So I went back to that philosophy of what it takes to build a team that's going to be proactive. So when somebody comes on board now, I spend about an hour with them on the telephone. And the way I try to adopt it to them is I want to know what their inner circle looks like, what kind of connections do they have, are they bashful or not bashful? The first question I always ask a potential district captain, are you bashful? Are you afraid to talk to people? And if they say they are, then we have to have a serious conversation as to you cannot be bashful in this position, because what I want the district captains doing is being engaged throughout the state. So what I did was I redesigned the state into 5 corridors, and then broke those corridors down into sub-corridors based on the demographics of the cities, the population, the political leanings of those particular areas. And that's where I focused on putting district captains in place. The more populous areas have specific district captains. The more rural areas, which here in Alabama tend to lean liberal, we spend some time in those areas, but I've never been able to we have what we call the black belt, and that is a very rural, very poor, very agricultural area. There's not that many people interested. Even now, we have supporters in those areas, we have volunteers in those areas, but nobody's willing to step up, because there'll be one guy in Monroeville, there may be 3 guys here and here and here. So what I've done is I focused in on the major metropolitan geographic areas in the state.
So how many district captains do you officially have now?
I have 14 specific district captains, and I have another 10 DC on the teams. And I'll explain to you what I've done there. I'll use Florence as a prime example. I have 1 district captain, lead district captain up there, and under her I've got 2 DCs and about 15 volunteers. Janet leads the way from that standpoint. But what we've done is, as we've brought DCs on, as I said, I speak to them for about an hour as they're coming on board. I want to get to know their personalities. I want to understand what they like to do, what they don't like to do. And then I try to help them develop an elevator pitch when they're first getting started. No one can be an expert when they first get going, but I look at activities 2 different ways, guys. I know National looks at activities about getting involved in the district dashboard and doing those and those are very, very important. Don't get me wrong. I push those too. There's another activity level. How quickly can I get somebody up to speed that understands convention of states, that is going to get out in the community and start talking to people? To me, that's the most important thing. The rest of it will come.
Murray, do you agree that when you talk to people that sometimes you find people that shouldn't be a district captain?
Absolutely.
And do you just cut it off right there, or you?
No. If after we have a conversation and they understand what we need for them to be doing, that this is why I'm uncomfortable doing that. There's 2 other options I take a look at. I either look at them being part of a team with a lead DC, or what I call an active volunteer. Active volunteer is someone who is willing to make a phone call every so often, willing to send an email every so often, those kind of things, from that line. I don't ever cut anybody out unless they just don't, unless they're just going to be bad for COS, period. And I've had a couple of those folks come in. They've got their own agenda. They want to go do this and they want to go do that. And to be perfectly honest with you, I sort of let those folks die on the vine, because they'll just fester and cause problems. And like I said, over the last 2 years, I think I've had 2 guys. I had a woman and a guy came on, and they were just going to be trouble from the word go. And we just ended up having to part ways after a couple of months.
So are you still trying, though, to recruit lead DCs?
Absolutely. I brought on 2 in the last 30 days.
Okay. All right.
So, so we have getting to understand, and to me, this is the key thing that where we've had fortunately we've had some success. I get to know those individuals very personally. I understand their families. I understand where they work, how they work, what they're doing, what kind of workload they have, from that standpoint. And like I said, what I try to do then is develop a something that if they run into people, they talk to people, what they're going to be comfortable about talking about. Is it term limits, number one? Is it financial? Is it budget restraints, number? Is that the topic? Is it regulatory issues? Is that the topic? And we develop their initial spill to people that they talk to based on their strength of what they think the thing that we need to do first, and then we expand on that. So once they get into the conversation of, well, we need to rein them in from regulatory. There's 80,000 pages or 80,000 regulations on the books right now, roughly. And how do we rein those things in from a business standpoint? Do they have business relationships? I'm big on networks. Everybody that's on my core team is got a inner circle and what I call an outer circle. The outer circle is where do they have contact? Where can they be influential in when they sit and talk to people? Is it an education? Is it at the city level? Is it the county level? Is it in the business community? Because here in Alabama, we've got about 3,500 small business owners. And regulations hit small business owners. So if that's the number one topic to bring to bear, then the ones who have those kind of relationships expand on it. And then once we get past the regulation piece, then we roll in the term limits. Then we roll in the financial restraints that need to be put on the federal government. So we develop that strategy based on the strengths of each individual DC as they come into the system.
And you mentioned that your core group are the
Yeah.
Who comprises your core group?
What do you mean? But my core group?
Yeah.
I've got 30 people that basically are my core team, and it encompasses 6 LLs, the 14 DCs.
Oh, okay. I thought you were referring to a core group of district captains. Okay.
I have what I call a core team.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, that's the.
I told Rodney a long time ago, when I signed on, that there's no way in this God's green earth that we'll be able to have 100 district captains. It's just physically going to be impossible to do it. So what the DCs in my area, based on how I've got the corridor set up, the specific or the lead DCs have more than one district to maintain.
So they're kind of like region captains in a way, right? I mean,
roundabout kind of way, they are regional captains. Yes.
We have the region captain concept where we've got 9 regions across the state. So I think what kind of sounds like a corridor is like a region that we have.
Probably so.
Yeah.
But I may have broken them down a little deeper than what you have.
Yeah.
So where we focus in on is like I said, where the major areas are.
So each corridor has a major population area.
Or several.
Huh? Or several. Yeah. Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right.
So we based on that, or what I'm talking about there, and then especially when they're new. Now, once they get on board, they're getting comfortable. Some of the newer guys, I said, here's your pitch. If you get in a situation where you're uncomfortable, you tell them to call me. If you got a recruit, a volunteer, or just anyone who wants to talk about COS and you're past your comfort zone until you get up to speed, have them call me. I get 8 to 9 phone calls a week from people that somebody might want one of the district captains to talk to. And we talk through it. Some of those have turned into volunteers. In fact, a good many of them have turned into volunteers. And because of the relationships that I'm wanting these people to build, we get invites to talk to small groups. In the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I was up in Florence. I spoke to about 100 people. And that was purely from the DC and 2 of her assistants. Right now, I'm going to be in Birmingham sometime next week talking to 5 or 6 people. And I may be back up in North Alabama toward next week to talk to another group of folks. You know, so the DCs, the core DCs are out. They're meeting people. They're getting volunteers and supporters to go to city council meetings, Board of Education meetings, city council, county commissions meetings, and that's my activity level. Now, to me, at this particular point in time, that's got to be, that's why some people die on the vine, is because they're spending more time watching videos and doing certain things when what they really want to be doing is trying to make a difference. So I look at trying to develop their making the difference up front, and then the rest of it will slowly come. It won't come in as quickly as some folks want it to come in, but it comes in. And that's how we've been able to keep our folks motivated, because one of the first questions people ask me when either they come in as a volunteer or they have the potential of coming in for a district captain, we're a past state. What do we do now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just the beginning of it,
Yeah.
because we have truly built out a grassroots movement here and now in the state of Alabama, to where we meet with our city, I meet with state representatives and senators on a regular basis. I had a phone call with one today. I'll have another one. I got one scheduled for Monday of next week. Our folks are getting to meet city council members and things along those lines. That is how they're making a difference. That's now they feel like they're being part of the solution instead of, well, what do we do next? Because my goal is to have us all the way down into the Board of Education level. I'm working on what we call the educational task force right now, to where we will have our veterans auditing classes, colleges and high schools, to try to alter what's been going on in the colleges around that. That's how we've expanded our engagement. That's how we keep people on board. And that's why we haven't lost anybody, because they are active. I had one of my DCs up in Middle Alabama today had a 3-hour lunch with his senator's assistant. And they just sat and talked about things, you know. So I don't overload them with, I have a state call when necessary. I don't have one every month. I don't have one every 2 weeks. I talk to most of the DCs, communicate with the DCs in one form or fashion every week. I get phone calls constantly. My phone, and maybe I'm a little different than everybody else. I tell everybody, you can call me up to 9 o'clock any night of the week but Sunday. Sunday I take off. But it's worked for us. We've got a good, strong team. We've got a rowdy team. We've got a rambunctious team. And we've got an excited team. And, you know, one DC will go find somebody someplace else, and we bring them on, you know, if they fit the mold, you know, from that standpoint. So that's what I've done, guys. It's worked very nicely for us. I wish I would say we do everything by the book, but we don't. But we get what we have to get accomplished to move forward as we wait for the other states to pass. And that's what we've got to do, is keeping the members, the DCs, involved in making them part of the solution. If they don't think they're part of the solution, they're going to go away. They'll just, oh, well, why am I going to sit there and watch this? Or why am I going to do this? Why am I going to do that? I want to be out there shaking somebody's hand. And that's what I've done. I've empowered them to do that, basically. That makes sense?
Okay. All right, guys, any questions for him, for Murray?
So, Murray, one of the things we've done is like we've done a lot of like gun show type events where we try to get face to face with people, talk to them, get them signed the petition, things like that. Sounds like you've focused much more on getting people to go to like council meetings, things like that, or meeting with legislators, things like that, rather than just trying to get more petitions signed. Is that right?
We go through, we're averaging, oh, it just depends. We're averaging 30 to 50 a day petition signers. We've grown. My goal this year was to hit, we started the year with about 26,000 petition signers. My goal this year was to hit 35. We're probably going to hit 37.
Okay.
Everybody on my team are linked through social networks. If I put something out, they share it. So my network is about 1,200. Everybody else's network is anywhere from 500 to 2,000. So if I put something out that's around Convention of States, they all share it. It's shared across all their networks, which has worked wonderfully. We've not done many gun shows, to be perfectly honest with you, and I'll tell you why. We need to, gun shows are wonderful. They're wonderful for petitions. I understand that, and our goal is to get petitions, and we get them all the time. But typically the folks at gun shows agree with us. We have got to expand the reach into a group of individuals who may not necessarily be aware of who Convention of States is or are. So we've done art fairs. We've done craft shows, city fairs, and things of this nature to expand the reach. I mean, I've gone to gun shows and I've gone in with my COS button on and say, hey, I know all about you and all this. That's wonderful. And yes, it does lead to petition, but we have got to expand the footprint of what COS is all about. And that's touching people that we don't normally touch on a regular basis. It leads to some unique conversations sometimes. I won't admit, won't deny that. But we do get petition signers. We get volunteers, out of that. So we've done some gun shows. We've got petitions, but I'm more of, we did before the shutdown. We did five town halls in 4.5 weeks. And those town halls went from as few as 15, 20 people to as many as 60. And then as our relationships, as we've expanded, I get invites by the networks that the DCs have developed. So like I say, I was in Florence a couple of weeks ago. I was at two watch parties for two candidates here in the state of Alabama that are both COS supporters. And one has led to a meeting down in South Alabama with the Women's Republican Party to come down and talk to them. So it's all about the networking of what we've tried to do to try to get the word out to explain COS. Tomorrow, myself, Terry, Ben, and Bud are going to be on a 3-hour radio show that all we're going to do is talk about Convention of States, COS, the Constitution, and about a bunch of other different things along those lines. So we've sort of tried to, I guess, expand our horizons a little bit. If that makes sense?
Sure. How do you get people at your town hall meetings?
What we'll do is we'll pick a geographic area. I'll draw a circle. I'll use Huntsville, Alabama as a prime example. Everybody probably knows where Huntsville is. Dead center of Huntsville, Alabama, I'll draw a circle of about 20, 25 miles radius. That's about as far as people will drive. And we invite the supporters. We invite the volunteers. We invite the legislators who are in those particular districts, both the House and the Senate. We invite, if there's city officials that want to come, we send out an invite to the city officials. And it's shared on our Alabama Facebook page, along with the DCs that live in that area, along with myself. Say, hey, we're going to have a town hall in such and such on such and such a day. And, your representative has been invited to it. And of course, we haven't been able to do much inviting because the email system's been broke for so long. But that's how we get them there. And we've toured with luncheons and we've toured with early evening events. The luncheons tend to bring in, for us anyhow, the luncheons tend to bring in anywhere from, I think the smallest was 15, the biggest was 35 or 40. And that's usually the retirees, because it's hard for somebody to take off work for an hour and a half, 2 hours for a luncheon. The evening ones, we usually start those around 6:30, and I think the smallest one we had was 35 people, and the biggest one was about 75 people. And
It's
we will
impressive.
start, since the governor now says we can all get back together as long as we wear a mask, we will start those back up again. I've already got everybody taking a look at areas where we can get enough people in to do it. So we're scheduling those out. We may not be able to get anything pulled off between now and Christmas, but we're looking to have maybe 1 or 2 town halls between now and Christmas, and then a handful of them in January before the session starts in February. Make sense?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Bill, does that work?
This is George. I'm the grassroots coordinator here in Indiana. Initially, I'm the, well, typically, I'm the first contact for like a district captain applicant in the LMT. About the last year or so, I started emphasizing more I'm looking for people that are self-motivated. And I emphasize also that we're heavily involved in the mindset of self-governance, you know, and I explained to them what that is. And, you know, we need people to get involved in their local government. You know, a lot like you were explaining. It's not really very difficult when you're talking to somebody to find out how they're going to fit in, if they're going to be like really active or, you know, gung-ho or blah, blah, you know.
Yeah. Talk about.
Yeah, the superstars show up real early. And we're getting more and more of those. As far as training goes, last year, I think it was, we wanted our new district captains, or, you know, our trainees to finish the training program, our Indiana training program, you know, before we set them free, so they didn't feel like they were just being thrown to the wolves. But we were losing a lot of people with that. So, and the feedback I believe that Dale was getting on that was they didn't feel like they were contributing anything, you know, and they wanted to be people like you were talking about. I want to feel like I'm making a difference, right? And when we weren't letting them loose until they finished training, they just kind of, you know, fell off the cliff into the bit bucket and never heard from them again. So we modified the training program, and they're active right away, okay, or, you know, they're able to do things. We always have, if there is an event, you know, we don't leave them alone there. There's always, I talk to them about, it's a continually educating yourself,
Absolutely.
you know, kind of ideal, you know. And we just had a gun show in Shipshewana, and, you know, we had a couple new people in there on that, and, you know, I did a lot of training with them as far as, you know, smoothed out their elevator speech kind of thing, and you know, make sure they're putting out the right kind of information and that sort of thing. And you can tell the people that are easy, you know, they don't take criticism very well, or they, you know, they want to know what they're doing that is wrong and fix it. But we do try to do other things besides gun shows. We have been to a couple of events for other groups. Not really very often though, and that I agree with you there. That's something that we should be expanding more into, trying to promote those kind of things. You know, I think we've got enough people now, district captains, that know what they're talking about, and I always offer for one of us, you know, the executive leaders or whatever, try to make us available to attend the event with them, you know, to help them out and give them support. But yeah, we need to do more of that. So I'm done.
Folks are eager to get involved, and even more so, I guess, over the last couple of months.
Yeah, I think it's going to pick up.
We've had, I'm just trying to think, it's 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 new DCs that are, I believe, are going to be very good. There'll be specific DCs for specific geographic areas. But the volunteers, it's been really unbelievable, the number of people who are signing up. And what I call an active, I call an active volunteer someone who's signed the T's and C's. You've got some folks that have, I want to be a volunteer. And when you try to reach out to them, you just can't get them on the telephone.
Right.
Occasionally, some time.
Right.
Everybody who signs the agreement, I've never had a trouble, other than one person, I think, have I had trouble getting them on the telephone.
Yeah.
And they finally called me back after a couple of weeks, and they were out of the country or something. I can't remember exactly what their reasoning was. But I call the active volunteers are the ones who have signed the agreement with us. So they're teamed with the various and sundry DCs in their geographic areas. From that standpoint, I've got one gap that I'm working on right now, which is down in the very southwest portion of the state. We've just had a tough time getting anybody down there. I did have someone, like I said, about 2 years. That's how long it's been since I've had somebody down there. Just can't get anybody that really wants to step up, to that role in that particular area. And it's a fairly conservative area. I'm a little surprised that we can't get anybody down there. Now we've got 4,000 or 5,000 supporters in that area. I'm just having a hard time getting someone to say, "Hey, I want to do it."
Yeah.
From example.
You gotta pay them more.
Uh,
Said you gotta pay them more.
I guess I do. That's what I did. That reminded me of a silly. I'll drop off after this. Let you guys get doing what you need to do. When we did our town hall down in South Alabama, we got several JBSers who showed up to the event, and naturally, in that particular part of the state, that's their last little bastion of people that are left. They've actually gotten some Tea Party folks and converted them. So I guess a handful of them, 4 or 5 of them, showed up to the town hall, and they were courteous. They didn't break in until we got to the point of asking questions. And Terry and I and Art were all down there, and we'd shut them down, and finally one of them got up and says, "Well, how much are you being paid?" I said, I almost stammered, and I said, "Do what now?" And I said, "You got to be getting paid a lot of money to be going all over the state doing this." And I said, "Ma'am, I don't make a dime. There's not a solitary person on my team that makes a dime. There's not a solid volunteer or supporter that makes a dime. So where are you coming from?" Of course, like I said, I knew where she was coming from, but talking about paying them more, maybe another cup of coffee or something like that, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Did I answer your questions? Was I able to help out any?
Yeah, Murray. Yeah, I want to thank you very much for giving us your time and experience. So,
thank you.
Anytime I'm available. Like I said, y'all want to talk anytime. I've imparted my wisdom. I have no more left.
all right. Thanks a lot, Murray. Thank you.
Thanks, Murray.
Yep. Thanks, Murray.
Have a great Thanksgiving, guy.
You too, guys.
We'll see you.
If I can figure out how to get out of here now.
Lower right corner, leave the meeting.
He figured it out.
Yeah, you got it. All
Well,
right.
that was a lot.
Was that worth it, you think?
I said that was a lot.
Yeah.
That was good.
You want to talk about that some more, or do you want to ponder that and go on with some other topics here? Maybe we can come back at the next staff meeting and kind of talk about what some of our thoughts were on this.
That'd be my thought. Wait a week and then chat about it.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to mull it over. I'm sure, have more thoughts about it tomorrow, and questions.
Yeah.
And
He mentioned some things that I thought were very good. Anyway.
I think he pointed out a lot of areas that they're excelling in that we're really pretty weak in. Like getting with other organizations, things of that sort.
All right, let's mull it over, and we'll be. What is this? This is the 24th. So we'll be meeting again then on December 1st, right? Be
Yep, that's it.
from tonight.
No, Monday's December. December 1st is on a Monday, isn't it?
No, it's
Tuesday.
Oh, okay. That's when I get paid, so.
All right. Well, if you got, I'm not sharing the screen on the agenda. I hope you all should have that in front of you. Just very quickly here, as far as the monthly state calls, I still trying to work out some deal where each of you have a segment on that call. So I'm still working on that, just so you know. Patriot Pen for December. I want to give Dan Stock a Patriot Pen.
Dr. Dan.
What do you think about that? Is that a good idea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had a
yeah.
gun show recently? Is that
He did the Indie Gun Show. He was there all 3 days.
awesome?
And I think he went to the Kokomo show too, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think that's worthy of a Patriot Pen. So
And does Ed Paraguay have a Patriot Pen?
yeah.
Okay.
I think we've given out something like about 15 of these things. So I got a bunch of them here. So I love giving those out. So anytime.
Nothing wrong with somebody earning more than one, right?
You know, hadn't thought about that, Paul.
You know, kind of like those Ohio State football helmets with all the stickers on them. Every time you make a good play.
So we might have a guy show up in a blazer with about 10 Patriot pins all
Or with a sash.
with a sash, huh? Hey, that's an idea. Ah,
Yeah.
well, you know, I never thought about that.
Or we could do something like add something to it, like in the service, if you get a medal for something, and then, you know, like marksmanship or something, and then next year when you requalify, you make marksman again, you get a little dingle ball that hangs from the ribbon.
Oh,
To
what?
mark you like-
A dingle what?
He said a dingle ball, I think is what he said.
That's a military term.
Okay.
Okay, all right. We'll keep going here. Telepatriot team, how are we coming on that? Any progress on that, Gary?
I've had a few people that volunteered for it, but I'm gonna have to do some recruiting. In fact, Paul, I was wondering if you would send me the list of people who made calls for the Iowa project,
Sure.
and I'll start maybe making phone calls to some of those folks.
Have we heard anything through Jonathan? Are they ready to go on a Georgia mission yet, or?
Haven't heard a thing. No.
Okay.
Speaking of lists, Paul, the people that attend that past state directors call, state director, grassroots coordinator,
Okay.
can you identify for me the state directors that are on that call? I tried to find a list, but they're not all identified.
So I can tell you where we don't have state directors, and that'll help narrow it down. Because we don't in Utah, Texas, Georgia. Susan Sigler's been doing Louisiana, but somebody's about to step up there. I don't think we do in North Dakota. So we got a lot of states without state directors.
Wow. I had no
So
idea.
Are you saying most of the people on that call are grassroots coordinators?
That may be. Kate Feller just stepped down in Utah. Did Shelby Williams in Texas.
What about
Georgia, I think we'll have somebody soon.
Shelby
I don't-
Williams step down?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well, So is it Murray and me? Are we the only two?
No. Murray's Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Mississippi? I forget who that is. Oh, Florida, Richard Simo stepped down, but I don't know if they've officially replaced him yet. Trying to go through the other.
Well, I want to
Alaska,
know.
we don't have one.
Huh?
We don't have one in Alaska. Keith Heim is on there, but I don't think he's really state director.
Well, I just want to know who the state directors are that are supposed to be on that call.
I tell you what, I think I can get a list.
You don't have to do it this minute. Just when you.
No, I didn't mean right now. I'll get you one
Okay, that'll
by
be
the middle of next year.
No, I was kind of hoping maybe next few days, maybe. All right. George mentioned on the last call, I think, when I said something about that I was going to start utilizing Zoom all the time, and so George mentioned, should we continue including free conference call in the training program? And I think Gary decided that he was using free conference call, right, Gary? But you're going to start using Zoom now?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking on, if we want to switch everything to Zoom.
So if we switch everything to Zoom, we don't need to include free conference call in the training program anymore, right?
Correct.
Right.
I have a comment.
Uh-oh.
The situation is entirely unknown in the next couple of years. So how about having Zoom primary and something else for a backup? In case Zoom becomes unmanageable, or I don't know, tapped or monitored or something like that, or goes away altogether. I think we should have some kind of backup. Not meaning to sound like a super prepper here, but
no,
you
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. It could grow to the point where it becomes unusable anymore, or it becomes could be something that we don't want to use any longer if it gets to a certain point where
it gets too
it might get too political or something. Well, but the thing is, then are we going to continue training people on free conference call that we don't use?
Seems like we should just train people on how to use Zoom. If at some point we have to go back to free conference call or something else, we can cross that bridge when we come to it. But there's no point in training people on something we don't really use.
Yeah. The only reason we ever had to make an account at free conference call was if they ever wanted to host something. You don't need to know anything about free conference call to join a meeting. They click the link and there they are. Because it functions pretty much just like any other video chat thing. Even Zoom.
Do we need to even train people on Zoom? Is that something that
on Zoom
most people have experienced anyway?
I think COVID took care of training everybody on Zoom.
We can give them training if they need it. How about that?
Yeah, let's just do it that way. Let's eliminate free conference call. So I guess Chris is Chris the one that does what do you is it you, George, and then Chris Miller?
Yeah, would have them make the account for free conference call. That'd be part of the mod 1 of our training.
Okay.
And then Chris would go into detail on it, as well as their district dashboard and Slack. Same.
Paul, you want to get a hold of Chris and tell him he can eliminate that?
Sure thing.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go full Zoom. Okay. Okay. Updates. This is well, I just want to know, how are you doing with your team meetings?
With our what? Team and meetings? I'll go first. I have Philip Waldorf. I talked to him at the gun show about a Young Americans for COS, as something further down the line in his being, part of COS. He's open to that. One of the volunteers I signed up tonight, she's a teacher also. I still got to call Mark about being a Veterans Coalition director. I forgot about doing that.
So George, you're still building your team then, right?
Yeah, isn't that what I'm supposed to do?
Yes.
I haven't found anybody like me though to take over grassroots coordinator. So.
No, we don't want anybody like you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
One's enough. I know.
No. Okay, George. So you're still building your team, and Gary, I know your team's basically the region captains, right? And I know you're working with them, right, Gary?
I have a call with them every 2 weeks.
That's right. Right. Okay. So Paul, how are you coming?
I haven't done a meeting, but I did Slack Ken and John to try to find some ideas for replacements for John for social media.
Okay.
Ken had one idea of somebody who we've already resigned as a district captain, so that didn't work. And I haven't heard back from John yet.
Okay. Okay. Have you met with Richard Loken on education?
No, I have not.
Okay. Okay.
Didn't Murray say he had 6 legislative liaisons? Did I hear him say that?
Yep.
Wow.
Did he really?
Yeah.
6 LLs and 14 district captains.
That many
And I think-
legislative liaisons. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
those
do.
people are kind of strange anyway. I can't imagine having 6 of them.
Yeah, they burrow their way in there and nail down those legislators. And
He has one in each geographic area, maybe.
Yeah. His corridors sound like pretty much like our region. So, which we could do that. We could certainly do that. Okay, so Paul, you're gonna keep working on meeting with your team members, right?
Yep.
To address the things that on your team.
Yep.
Okay. All right. COS Indiana Live. I'm now posting the recordings of each weekly broadcast. I'm now posting that on Parler. So you can follow me on Parler at D.O. Parrish. So, and I'm trying to find additional material to go on there. Are any of you on Parler? Paul, are you on Parler?
Yes, sir.
You are? George,
Yep.
you're on Parler?
yeah, I haven't logged in for a while, but I've been joined for about 2 months.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any of you on Rumble? Any of you use Rumble?
Never even heard of it until it was mentioned at the state call.
Yeah.
Are you MBLE?
Yep.
Are you
RUMBLE?
MBLE?
Yeah.
That's a video hosting site, right?
Right. It's like YouTube. Are you on that, Paul?
I don't have a channel on there. I've looked at it before.
Does it look like something that you have to pay to join?
I don't know. I haven't looked that closely at it.
I got to a point where it said where it talked about different different types of membership, and I didn't go any further because it looked to me like you had to. It didn't say how much, but I kind of got the impression that you had to buy a membership or something. I didn't want to get into that. Anyway, okay. Gary, I wanted to talk about this this latest Mission Excellence plan that you put out here, that you posted.
Yeah, made some changes to the old one.
I did find a copy of the old one. I found one back from November of last year and December. What changes? But I haven't had a chance to compare the two here. What changes have you made here?
Well, I took off a few things and added a few other things.
Took off a few and added a few. Okay.
It's a short summary. So, like we did away with the district newsletter, so I took that off. Took off door knocking down under grassroots, and before we had, if you like hosted a information table, you'd get 10 points for hosting the table and plus 2 points for every petition. But we didn't have a separate way of reporting those points for collecting petitions. So, they might have to list 3 tables to get the 30 points if they had done, gotten that many. So I set up a separate line item for the number of petitions that people gathered, so they could gather those, like if they go door knocking, if they go to a gun show, town hall, however they get them, doesn't matter. But they just list each one if they get petitions and they want to get points for that. Up under general and training, I took off the completing the full 6 modules of training. I just have the DC 100 course that I want everybody to try to go through at least once a year. And
there's like 400. There's like up to DC 400, 200, 300, 400 in COS University.
Right. I think it's DC 100 is the one that I wanted everybody to do at least once a year.
Okay.
And then legislative relationships, I don't think I made any changes there. I did change the point requirements, the targeted points for the quarter and the goal for the year. I think I changed those, up those a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Not really any major changes to it.
All right. All right.
I think that'll help out a lot with the gun show reporting too.
Yeah, it should make it easier to report when people do gun shows or town halls and things like that.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense this way. Good job. Good job.
All right. All right, Gary. Good. Good.
I have one thing. I don't know if I overlooked it, but is there an activity on there for working the district dashboard, keeping that clean?
Yes. I think under general that to log into COS Action app or Citizen Builder, go expect them to do that weekly.
That's different than cleaning up the district dashboard, though. You
Okay.
need them to make sure that their district dashboard, that all the people we have in there, we have complete info, and if we're missing something or it's incorrect.
Okay.
What do you mean cleaning up district dashboard? You mean like the +4 and zip codes and stuff like that?
Yeah, +4 and zip code, and then making sure we've got complete address, and
Oh, okay. Okay.
we don't have like just the first name and not a last name, or
Okay, I got you. I didn't know for sure what you meant. All right.
Think in terms of if we print it off to give to a legislator, they aren't going to look at it and start saying, you know, hey, you got some garbage
Okay.
in here. How do I trust that your numbers are right?
One of the things that in the district dashboard, it's kind of weird because what's that tool? The lookup tool
Mm-hmm.
said that we should not use that to update people's information or something. I didn't quite
Right.
understand.
We're not supposed to update any of their personal information without talking to them,
Okay.
other than like fixing an address if it's all caps and you want to make it capitalized and lowercase. You do the add the +4 to the zip code without talking to them. That's no big deal.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
I will add that as an item.
Is this live yet, Gary? This isn't live yet, right?
No, this is the goal is to get this in final form, and then we'll introduce it for 2021.
All right.
Okay. The LMT. It looks to me like these volunteers are still on here.
2 of them got knocked off today. Michelle and Gina are signed up.
Well, Michelle's still, they're both still on here as,
Well, I talked to Gina just before I came onto this call.
all
I
right,
called her as soon as I got home from the VA because she didn't want me to call till after 8 o'clock.
all right, all right.
But she got signed up, and Michelle Carter, I think it is, she's signed up too.
Okay. Now, does that mean now has the respective region captain talked to them too?
I haven't given Vicky Fisher is one of them, and I haven't swapped their contact information yet. I'm doing a follow-up mail or follow-up email that will do that. I did tell Vicky, and she's anxious to talk to Michelle. And I told Michelle about Vicky, but I haven't swapped their contact info yet. That email will be going out tomorrow.
Okay,
With-
Gary, do you know the region captains that should be contacting these volunteers?
No.
One is Thomas, because Gina is down around Louisville and down that area of the state, and Michelle is in Indy.
Where are you finding these people as
LMT.
volunteers?
Yeah,
They're
volunteers.
volunteers. They're on the LMT. Yeah, they've applied to be volunteers.
Yeah, they've been assigned to me now. They weren't last week. They didn't have anybody assigned to them last week.
Okay.
So George makes the first contact, and then the appropriate region captain that these volunteers will be part of needs to do the second interview.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, we also have a new district captain applicant.
Yeah, I saw your note on her.
Yeah.
I have not talked to her yet or attempted to.
I'm
She just
kinda-
came on like yesterday, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, yeah. She responded to one of my COS Live broadcasts. And,
Can you expound a little bit more on your impression of her? I'm in the vetting process of her now, so.
no, I don't want to. I don't want to.
You said she believes in aliens or something like that, or what?
Well, she mentioned to me about world government, And
In what
about,
sense?
huh?
In what sense?
And that we ought to all be working toward a world government.
Uh,
Oh,
And now she also said a lot of other things that makes a lot of sense too. But I mean, she's retired. She was a minister, I think, at one time. So I just kind of be listening for. I don't know if she's a kook, quite honestly, or if she's just has a vast experience. I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it, but when she
I
said
did check
world-
out her. I did look at her Facebook page.
Oh, you did? No, I did not look at that.
Yeah. Lot of religion on her page. In fact, it's probably like all religion, which is fine with me. I got no problem with that. I'm not looking at that. I'm just looking see what kind of posts they do, or what kind of other people post on their site or their page and things of that sort. Just a real general kind of look through thing. But yeah, I'll give her a call and
All right.
tomorrow or next day. Next day, it's got to be tomorrow because next day is Thursday, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
I get
Hey,
to
Dale, did
my
you-
banquet turkey.
Dale, did you figure out how to look at somebody's bio?
No.
No?
The reason I asked that question, I called, I did a welcome call to Phil Waldorf. He's a real nice guy, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
He sounds very good. And of course, I was asking him, well, what do you do? Do you work full time? Blah blah blah. And he just said, well, did you read my bio? And I guess had I read his bio, I would have known what he did for a living. But I went to his profile on Citizen Builder. I didn't see anything about a bio.
Yeah, I would ask you flat out. What are you talking about bio?
So
He was at the gun show.
basically, I said no, I haven't read it. But
Yeah, he was at the 60 Gun Show. He helped us set up on Friday. He was there for 3-4
Yeah.
hours.
yeah, he seems like a real good guy.
But if you look at your own profile on the front end Citizen Builder page, there's a section that says short bio that you can fill out. And I wonder if that's what he was talking about. But I don't know how to look at that for anybody else.
Huh. And where'd you find it, Paul?
So when you're on the front end, when you first log into Citizen Builder and you got your picture up in the upper right-hand corner,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you in that drop-down menu, if you click on My Profile, it'll have your name and time zone and stuff, and the section where you can put in why do you support COS and a short bio. So I wonder if that's what he was talking about.
Could be.
But I have no idea how to look at anybody's profile in that way.
Well, okay. I'm not worried about it. It's just it's just something I never I'd never been asked that before, and I just wonder what the heck he was talking about.
He's retired after teaching 16 years to preschool. I don't know why he left that, other than he said it was time to get an adult job. He's currently not working. He started his own binder of pertinent COS information that he's picked up out of the website and stuff. He's got maps printed out, and yeah, it's cool. He kept over here. I got a map for that. I got a map for that. That was pretty cool. And he was very, very acceptable of some criticism I gave him on his elevator speech, and he was just like all wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, man. He's going to be good.
Good. Now, I've also tried calling Troy Chain and Stephen Neese. I sent text messages and emails and never got a response from either one of them.
Yeah.
So
Last I
far.
talked to Troy, he had gotten all the information I had sent him. I sent him a training guide also, and he was working through that. What did we ever answer the question of what kind of training we're going to get volunteers? Should I send them a copy of the training guide? And I'll, explain to them that it's not mandatory that they go through it. It's district captain training, but there's a lot of information in there with all the hyperlinks and stuff.
Or it might be just as easy to tell them to log on to COSU and do as many courses as they want.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I do explain to them. I do tell them about COS University, so they can get snuffed up and they don't, they feel like they're building some kind of knowledge level. But that, to do that, they have to create an account at conventionofstates.com.
I thought we had decided on.
I don't remember if we did. We might have. I don't remember. Were we going to design a lean and mean one for volunteers, or?
Let me look back in my notes and see if I can find something on that. Seems like I remember us talking about that.
Yeah, I know I've asked the question like 3 times, so.
Yeah,
Seems we might have come to some kind of resolution. I don't remember what it was.
They should be doing Volunteer 100.
Yeah,
This is in COSU.
right.
And then COS 1, 2, 3, and 400. And they could even do Government 100, Constitutional Literacy.
Now, their assignment kind of dictates what courses are available to them, doesn't it? They can't go to a DC course, can they, if they're not assigned as a DC?
I think you're right.
That it kind of sounds like what we talked about, but I mean, that kind of makes sense, really, that just to give them a general understanding of Convention of States.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. Let me check my notes here and see if I can find something on it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll work on trying to put up some kind of package or something too. So.
All right. Anything else?
Gary, I slacked a list to you of
I saw it.
Telepatriot folks, and Dale, I slacked a list to you of all the state directors in the past states.
Okay.
Paul, you got to quit being so fast with, meeting these
Yeah, I
requests.
think it's all look bad, Paul. You know that, don't you?
George and I look kind of bad.
So, Paul, when's Maya coming home?
She flies home tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh,
When are you having her on Indian and Live? Is it December 8th, something like that?
December 14th.
14th.
And that will be the last broadcast for this year. So,
From Murray's point of view, are we going to still have staff meetings once a week and state calls once a month?
yep. Yep.
Okay.
I can see you're really thrilled about that.
Well, at least it's routine, and I can melt into that.
Okay.
It's these things off the cuff things that kind of blow me out of the water.
All right. Okay, you guys got big plans for Thanksgiving, or you're pretty much staying at home?
Yeah, at home, heating up my family-sized banquet turkey and making some mashed potatoes. And I bought a loaf of bread today to put it all on the bread. Something to sop up the gravy.
How about you, Gary? Are you staying home or are you going?
Yeah, we had some friends from church that invited us to come over because we didn't have any family that was coming by. So
Oh. How about you, Paul?
Yeah, we're pretty low key.
Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty low key too. Daughter coming over, but that's about it. So,
Is that, what's your normal Thanksgiving like, Dale?
well, we normally have our son and his family and our daughter and her husband and grandson and his wife's family. So normally we have a pretty good gathering here.
Yeah.
But not this year. Not this year. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
My son's family, there's they got 5 kids. So there's 7 of them just in that family.
We're gonna have to kick 2 of them out, isn't it? Something.
Yeah. So they're gonna do their own thing. All right, guys. Well, have a good one. Gobble gobble. And we'll see
I used to be-
y'all next Tuesday evening, same time.
Sounds good.
yeah.
All righty, sir.
All right. Good
Well,
night.
then we'll-
See you guys.
Yep. Good night.